You all know the plot. A man's wife is brutally murdered, and his son is left physically disabled by the attack. In a twisted turn of events, his son is kidnapped and has to chase the kidnapper hundreds of miles with the help of a mentally disabled woman. In the end, of course, Nemo escapes, and they all magically find their way home. Now, when marine scientists around the world saw this, they proclaimed it was nonsense. But it was too late. We were left with the daunting task of having to re-educate an entire generation. The truth is certainly not as uplifting. As parents, most fish couldn't care less about what happens to their kids. Once they hatch, they're essentially on their own. And when they reach the edge of the reef, they must decide, should I stay or shall I go? We know that clownfish tend to like the creature comforts of home. In fact, some of our latest research even has a real-life story of Nemo moving back in with his parents. However, for most fish, staying home is not an option, and they are drawn by the deep blue. Once you start swimming away from the reef, though, you better keep swimming, because that next reef could be hundreds of kilometers away, and you only have a very limited amount of time to make it there. My research is about finding out how far baby fish can swim and where they end up. I use genetics, the DNA of individual fish, to pair up babies with their parents. Sometimes I can even pick up a particular signature in a fish that tells me where it comes from, like the accents that we have, which allow us to tell an Aussie from a Kiwi. We've studied fish around the world, and we know that some fish tend to be good swimmers and some are downright lazy swimmers. But the absolute best swimmer is the Arabian clownfish. These tiny little dudes can swim up to 400 kilometers just to find a new home. That's like you and me swimming from Townsville all the way to Cairns. Now, we don't do this just to make sure the next Disney movie sticks to the facts, or set swimming records in fish for that matter. Knowing where fish are going to end up allows us to make sure that there's a home waiting for them when they arrive. And knowing how far baby fish can swim helps us to understand how they're going to cope as reefs come and go. The further you can swim, the better you can cope. So keep calm and just keep swimming.